Hello again, and here we are back at Perfectly Paranormal for episode 162. My name's Anna Schmidt, and I'm here every week to share with you true paranormal encounters and information about devils, demons, and dark energy beings that no one else talks about. At least I think they don't. And today you're going to get my understanding of why portals, which are energetic doorways, why if they're constantly left open can affect a person's mind and body function and possibly cause illness that can't be defined by medical practitioners. And as you know, pretty much all the information I share on this podcast is from my personal experiences or what I have learnt through client experiences. So before we start, I want to reiterate that the information shared today is purely from an energetic perspective. From me as an energy worker, I'm not a doctor or a mental health professional, but I like to offer people another perspective as to what may be causing possible issues, especially if the problem can't be defined or can't be solved medically or through mental health care. So what are portals? We're just going to do a brief recap for those that don't really know much about portals. Portals are energetic doorways. They're interdimensional energy doorways that can be opened in locations or buildings, sometimes on objects, but also around people and within them. And these opened doorways can disrupt the functioning of the physical body and the energy body, causing all sorts of problems that medical science can't explain. I've had so many clients over the years that have had portals open for different reasons that we're going to talk about today. And once the portals are closed and the people are aware of what they're doing that cause these portals to open, once they avoid those activities, there's no more portals, there's no more problems. So portals open, there's a few different types of portals. Like I define 3 different types when I'm working on homes, which are trauma portals, magic portals, and interdimensional portals. But we're mainly going to be talking about the interdimensional portals today because they're the ones that I find most often within people. Portals, like I said, are energy doorways that open into other realms, realities, and dimensions through all space and all time. It's not just the dark realm, even though those portals make up the major portion of entities that come through portals, but not always. There can also be, well, it really depends on what people have been doing, what their actions and their activities have been. So there can also be cosmic portals and sorcery or magic portals, which let in the contracted assassins, as I call them, the summoned entities or the magic mailmen, into people's personal space to cause chaos and just to basically do harm. We're going to expand on all this. Now, I bet you're thinking, how are these portals opened in people? And we have a list. You know I love lists. Now, number 1, this is probably the biggest one. Number 1 is spiritual practices that access the higher realms, such as meditation. Now, quite often, if people are energetically unprotected, meditation practices, and we're not talking about any particular type of meditation, I'm just lumping it all into one just for easy understanding. Meditation gives entities a direct opening into your consciousness. This is how it works. Sometimes it can be, if your meditation goes out from I usually say the consciousness, pineal gland, and your brow chakra, crown chakra, and all chakras above your head, and your governing meridian line. We're going to talk about all those areas a lot today, because most of the portals I find are in people's heads. Because of all of these types of activities that they're doing, they're opening their consciousness and then they don't shut them down afterwards. And it's just like a smorgasbord for entities. It's like 24/7 access to these people. So I found out very early on, so a lot of this information has come from me knowing from me doing, because I do what I call live and learn experiences. That is how I understand how stuff works. I don't read it in books. I generally don't do courses. It's stuff I've learned from what I've experienced, unpacked, found solutions for. So I found out very early on in life that our physical body and our energy bodies aren't designed to be connected to other realities 24/7. Now, it sounds common sense, but believe me, when you hear one of the stories later on in this episode, you'll go, oh my goodness, what is wrong with these people? Our bodies aren't designed for this. The field needs to be sealed and closed all the time. So we're not an open door for whatever wants to come in and cause trouble. Now, I talk to and get information from the archangels. They're the beings I go to if I need help with whatever in my life, or I don't know, whatever I'm doing. If I need help, I go to the archangels. I do it without opening a portal. I simply have a conversation because the higher realms are always listening all the time, 24/7, just like the dark realms. Because all dimensions all exist, all in the same place, all at the same time. Just how it is. It's how I look at it. So they hear everything that we're thinking, everything that we need. And the archangels will come to me with answers that I need. I hear them on the outside of my body, which is probably actually on the outside of my energy field. But it's a feeling, knowing, hearing. Now, I don't open portals to do that. I don't open cords into the other realms, the other realities. I'm just simply intuitively aware, or I use my spiritual discernment as well, which you talked about in a previous episode. So number 2, this is a big one. This happened to a friend of mine. I'm just going to have a very short story attached to this to give you an example. A dear friend of mine, she had an interest in researching, studying and practicing information found in ancient esoteric documents, such as the Emerald Tablets. Now, I don't know much about the Emerald Tablets. I think it's connected to ancient Egyptian thinking texts, whatever, who knows, cosmic stuff going on out there. Oh my goodness, did she get into trouble? I've probably told you this story before, but it is very real and very relevant. She would meditate and maybe do some other sort of practices that I don't know about, going off into the universe to find these emerald tablets and to access them and read them and learn about. It's this curiosity. You know, they say curiosity killed the cat. Well, curiosity, I think, kills a lot of people a lot of the time, or at least causes them a lot of trouble. If she hadn't gone looking for these emerald tablets, she wouldn't have had the problems that she did. Anyway, short story. An entity slipped into an open portal in my friend's, it would have been within, I can't remember because it's a very long time ago that this happened, but it would have been within her consciousness, her crown chakra, and probably her whole sort of chakra system above her head. This entity slipped into her body. So you could say it was a type of possession. Her face, I can still see it in my mind right now. Her face morphed so badly that her eyes bulged and her false teeth would not fit in her mouth. Now, I knew it was still my friend. She looked the same, like everything was the same except for her face. Her behaviour was, she was pretty normal. Like whatever it was that was there, it didn't show itself to me very readily. Like this was in the early days, probably, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago now. Maybe I wasn't a threat, and so I wasn't going to be doing any energy work with her. But she really suffered with this entity. She couldn't sleep. It was on her mind constantly. And it would also be present in the home. So whether she brought something else back with her that was in the house, or whether it was the same being that went from her to the house and back again, I don't know. She got some help from an energy worker at that time. And I think it took maybe a couple of weeks for her to come back to normal. She went and stayed with this energy worker, and this lady worked on her probably daily to get rid of this entity and to then clean and seal all of the portals that were open within her body, because now she's back to normal again. So number 3, therapies. Now this is where some therapists access your consciousness to identify maybe mental health issues, trauma, maybe you do past life regression. Now, I'm not having a go at therapists, but I am saying that you need to make sure that you close people up afterwards, because quite often it's not done. The work is done and they do fabulous work with people to help them deal with their trauma and so forth. But then when the clients leave, they've got these open portals. And these entities that hang out quite often in hospitals or, places where people do therapy, because they know there's a lot of grief, a lot of trauma, a lot of paranoia, whatever the negative emotions are. Entities hang out in these places because they're just looking for a new host. So if people walk away with portals open, these beings are going to follow them. So number 4, seeing energy workers. Now this is similar to number 3. Energy workers who access your energy body, which is your chakras, your meridian lines. I suppose your consciousness falls into your energy body, but it's also part of your physical body and your whole makeup. Oh my goodness, I find portals open in people's chakras all the time. Meridian lines, not so much, but it is a possibility. When you go to see an energy worker, if they're doing rebalancing of your chakras, in your meridian lines, in your energy field, in your soul energy, if these doorways aren't closed afterwards, the client will walk away feeling drained or unsettled, or they can't sleep, or they're experiencing negative emotional changes within themselves. And we're going to be covering symptoms of open portals a little bit later on, so hang in there. So number 5, some people are born with portals open. And I found this in one client. This portal possibly, or most likely, had been opened in a previous lifetime, and it was still open. This was a highly intuitive psychic lady who had medical issues her whole life. I've actually encountered 3 people like this. She'd had medical issues her whole life. Until we encountered these portals, I identified them and where they were, and boy was she shocked. She had no idea they were open, and she gave me permission to close them to give her mind and body a rest and time to recover. She did a lot of energy work. I think it was mostly Reiki, and she had no idea that when she did the energy work, she was opening these portals, and she was opening more portals on top of the ones that were already there. So once she learned how to close them, she had no more issues. Her physical body was relaxed and happy. Her energy body was relaxed and happy. And it was safe from outside influences, because you've got no idea how often these entities hang around people. So number 6, any type of personal or group invocation, we're talking sorcery and magic practices, that access other realms and realities. Dimensions, talk to their deities, access the entities or summon the entities. They're opening portals when they do that. And people's consciousness can be really easily accessed if the practitioner leading the session knows how to open that connection. Because if you're there in a group, you've given permission. You're part of the group. You're likely going to have portals open, whether it be in your consciousness, pineal gland, hypothalamus, chakras, meridian lines, physical body. There'll be holes in your energy field, holes in your torus field, because you're going off into these other realms, realities and dimensions. You can't get there unless you open the door. I've covered magic attack in various other episodes, and I did a rather useful and relevant protection episode back in episode 93. So if you're interested in that, I suggest you check it out. Now, number 7, seances and Ouija board sessions. We talk about this a lot, but it is a big problem. Participants who are doing these things are an open invitation. They go in, they sit down at the table, or they've got their hand on the planchette. They're asking questions. And if the person has, say, a lot of trauma in their life, or a lot of negative emotions, or they've experienced the loss of someone, something like grief creates a big doorway. Like, I'm going to actually do an episode on that. I've written it down in my list of coming up episodes, grief and demonic attention, because negative emotions can attract these beings, as we know. And when you sit down to do these seance and Ouija board activities, you're actually opening a doorway, whether it be with a planchette on the Ouija board, or you're sitting around the table doing the seance. But you can very possibly, if you're vulnerable and you've got holes in your energy field protection, you can be opening a portal, or even without holes, you can crack holes open in your energy field through your strong desire to connect to something on the other side. Like, I don't have all the information about portals. None of us do. I can just give you what I've experienced and what I've found in clients. Because portals are a big problem. You can't see them. You can feel them if you know what they feel like. You can hear them. I actually hear portals, which is kind of weird because you know I'm a weirdo, but I hear portals when they're open. But people expect to see things for making it tangible, but it just doesn't work that way. People who are aware and do, say, muscle testing or can use a pendulum, you've got to ask, you feel a bit weird and a bit wonky, do I have a portal open somewhere? Now, where can portals open? This is where it gets interesting. And I learned a lot about human anatomy when unpacking client issues that doctors couldn't find definitive causes for. I had one client who had constant mind-splitting headaches. She did have a past life issue that was part of that, but she also had portals open in her brow chakra, crown chakra, governing meridian line, and her consciousness, which all kind of reside in that forehead and the top of the head area where most people get headaches. And it was so bad, like she couldn't find any other energy worker that could find out what the problem was. And I worked on her for a whole month, sort of whittling away at all the possibilities until I found out what it was. And she no longer has these mind-splitting headaches. Now, the physical locations, I've divided it into the physical locations and the energy body locations. Portals can be opened anywhere within a person's physical body. Now, that's mainly with the sorcery and magic practitioners. If they're targeting a particular part of the body, they'll open a portal to it, especially if the person doesn't have any energetic protection activated and their energy field has got holes in it. But generally, portals, I find, are mainly in the head region. The consciousness, the subconsciousness, the nervous system, the brain and all its various parts, which I'm not going to name, the limbic system, which is part of the brain and the nervous system, the pineal gland and the hypothalamus. They are big ones for portals being left open. The pineal gland is, we all know about, that's all connected to the third eye chakra, brow chakra and universal connection, all that. If there's portals open there, entities can get in. Once they get into your pineal gland, they've got free rein to go wherever they want. They're not just going to stay with your pineal gland. They fancy attacking you in a particular part of your body. These are the demonic entities. They're going to go there. If they're magic beings that have been summoned to do you harm, they're going to go wherever the contract is sending them. It all gets a little bit mind-blowing and it gives me a headache sometimes. But it is all very real, all very relevant, and I do hope that it helps people understand how this works and might even help people solve some of the issues that they've got. So the energy body locations, there are two main parts of the energy body where portals can be opened. Now this is in the meridian lines, which is a system of energy lines that flow through the body. Now, if you want to look up meridian lines online, go ahead, research them, understand what they are. I know they're real because I know when I used to have magic in my meridian lines because I'd have this weird buzzing in a particular part of my body. And one lady described it one day as having electricity shooting out of her fingers. There's no way in hell that's going to come from your physical body. It has to be energetic. We have meridian lines that run through our body and out our fingertips. So the meridian lines, mainly the governing meridian line. Now the governing meridian line runs from the center of your top lip, up through the center of your nose, through between your eyebrows, over the top of your head and all the way down the back of your body, down the center of your body to your tailbone. That's the location of the governing meridian line. And that meridian line governs the yang energy, and it runs through particular organs in the physical body and it connects us to our higher consciousness, along with the upper chakras, like the upper chakras in the body, the brow chakra, crown chakra, and yes, we have the system I use is 4 chakras above the body, but I usually just say all chakras above the head. Now, if people are doing energy work into the higher realms, the head area is where the portals are going to be open. Because we go out through our mind consciousness, whatever you want to call it. We go out through our soul energy when we do our meditation. Do we go out through our pineal gland? Wherever you go out, you're going to come back in. You need to close the door because people are vulnerable. So how can open portals affect you? We've kind of covered a little bit of it already, but we're just going to go over it again. Open portals leach your energy out into other realms, realities and dimensions, like a continuously leaking sieve. It's like having a door open in your house. I mean, how many people would go to bed and leave their front door open, turn off the lights and just go to bed? No one does that because you don't want strange weirdos in your house. You don't know who's going to come in. It's the same with these energetic doorways, these portals. They are an open invitation to whatever is wafting around in the vicinity to get into your personal space, to cause harm. Now, our bodies aren't designed for these energy doorways to be open. And I know because I can feel it when they're open. And how I can explain that to you is I hear a vibration. Now, not everyone's going to do this, but I'm super, super, super energy sensitive. The more of this work I do, the worse it gets. It's actually not the worse it gets, the better it gets. But it's kind of worse in one way. But I hear the vibration, and I'll use my pendulum to locate where the portal is, and then I ask Archangel Michael to close it. But if it's a magic portal, there might be some energy attached to it that has to be removed before you can close it. There might be entities attached to it. It's really complex to close some of these portals. But our bodies aren't designed for it. And you can really go into energetic overload pretty quickly. And you feel out of sorts. You're like, why is that? I've had plenty of sleep. I'm not dehydrated. I've had something to eat today. I feel calm. I feel happy. What is going on? I feel weird in this particular part of my body, or I've got this massive pounding headache. There's no reason for me to have a headache. I'm not stressed. What is causing that headache? If it's not medical and it's not mental health, it has to be energetic. There's only the three options. Portals open in the head region can cause brain fog, headaches, dizziness, cognitive dysfunction in so many ways. I can't even outline it here. People can feel tired, they feel lethargy, they have sleep issues, especially if there's portals attached to their hypothalamus or their pineal gland. And the headaches can be just mind-blowing. Sometimes you can't even see straight. If it's around the brow chakra region, it's right between your eyes and it can affect your vision. Now that could also be a medical issue. So before assuming that you have portals open and you go running off to an energy worker, please see your doctor and your mental health professional, depending on what your issues are. But you've got to rule out the physical causes first. Now here's a collective example for you. I've been asked to check the energy of many energy workers over the years. Some of them are happy with what I find. Some of them are not happy. Their poor little egos feel a little bit bruised. I mean, I don't judge people. I tell them that. I say, I'm not judging you. You asked me to tell you what I'm finding, and this is what it is. These people have been unwell physically and energetically for anywhere. One lady, I think, was only the last 6 months, and another one, it was maybe 10 or 15 years. One thing that they all have in common is portals open in their consciousness, their pineal glands, and the chakras, the crown chakra and the chakras above their heads. Some of them, it was their governing meridian lines, and others, it was their consciousness or their subconsciousness, depending on how they're doing their energy work. Now, we've talked about those locations a lot, but that is where I find these portals open. Many of these energy workers wanted the portals left open. And after you sitting here and listening to me explain why this is an issue, why on earth would these people want them left open? They were afraid that they would lose their connection to their higher realms, whether it be for personal energy work or for they're intuitive artists or they're doing energy work with people. And there was only one out of the 5 people that would actually listen to me and open her portals and then close them afterwards. And she said once she learned how to do it, she was like, wow, I've got so much more energy. I feel really revitalized. And she realized how dangerous it was for her for the last 15 years where she'd left portals open. She had no idea that they were there. Now, I've had other energy workers, you'll find this interesting, other energy workers say to me, but it's a one-way portal and I'm only connecting to the angelic realm. There's one lady who was really into angels. She's like, I only connect to the angelic realm. It doesn't go anywhere else. I said, well, it's an open door. And you're saying you're connecting to the angelic realm, but how do you know that other entities can't get in? She didn't have her answer for that because she was so limited in her thinking, going, I'm just going to talk to the angels. And I'm going, yeah, well, the demonic entities love people like that because they're so naive that they don't think the dark beings can access a portal that is near to the angelic realm. And these entities, they play on us like we are so naive. Some of us are just so naive that we just think we're talking to certain beings. When I've talked about this before, I've done lots of episodes on dark disguises and how demonic entities trick us. You've got to be really, really savvy and use your spiritual discernment. Don't trust anything unless you've looked at how the information comes to you. Is it relevant? How does it feel when you get it? Is it helpful? Is it beneficial? And then close the doorway afterwards. So closing portals in people. Now people are all going to want to know how to close these portals. It is not as easy as it sounds. Now on my YouTube channel at Paranormal Specialist, I did a portal closing video, but that was aimed at homes and locations. They're much easier to close. But people portals are more complicated. So the issue is mainly finding the locations. Then you've got to identify what type of portals they are. Are they interdimensional? Are they dark realm? Are they cosmic? Are they sorcery or magic portals? You've got to find where they are in the body. Then you've got to track down all the entities that have come through the portals. And if they've been there a long time, like if the portals have been open a long time, like I'm shaking my head right now, it takes a long time to unpack it. There are no shortcuts. You've got to find all the portals and where all the entities are hiding. Sometimes I do this work over days or weeks for people. And you can't take shortcuts because otherwise you miss something, a portal's left open. It's lucky I'm OCD because you have to keep asking the same questions. You just got to ask and ask and ask to find every single location, close the portals, shut them down, remove the entities, and then the person has more awareness and how to stop it coming back again. So, how do you stop portals from coming back again? You be aware of who you let into your personal space. You look at getting yourself some energetic protection. They really are complicated. You can't just say to your higher vibrational supporter, excuse me, can you please locate all the portals in my physical body and my energy body and close them? It doesn't work like that. Requests have to be specific. Statements or prayers, there has to be particular wording and it has to be really targeted at where you want the portals closed. There's no shortcuts in doing this work. It can take me hours, like literally hours. One lady had 38 layers of sorcery and magic attached to her. And there were portals, oh my goodness, there were portals and magic mailmen in each of those different layers and all in different locations within each layer. That's how complicated it is to close. Now in episode 163, you're going to get the lowdown on how demons enter people. And portals, yes, will be one of the things on my list that I mention. I mean, what more can I say? You may be surprised at some of the sneaky ways that demons get into people. A lot of the times it's easier than what you think. So stay tuned, and I look forward to spending some spooky time with you next week. If you like the content of this episode today, please think about leaving me a rating and a review. What reviews do is they let other people know your thoughts about my supernatural subject matter. People love reading reviews, and we're spreading the word about the real paranormal world around us. I would really appreciate it. So thank you for joining me today, and don't forget, if you want to share a paranormal experience just with myself, or you would like me to share one of your experiences through my podcast, you can do a voice recording, or you can write out your experience and I will read it exactly as you have written. You can email me at spiritualbeing44@gmail.com. And for information on paranormal house clearing, you can visit my website, Spiritual Being. You will find the address in the description box. And I look forward to sharing this spooky space again with you next week. And remember, life is perfectly paranormal.